finally, with all 6 infinity coils.
Hello everyone, my name is Vapechilla, your average Pinoy vape reviewer, and today we're going to be reviewing all coils by Augvape. So you might be wondering, how are these coils? This is but mere packaging. Augvape graciously sent me all 6 coils. We've got a Clapton 25 gauge, a dual core fused Clapton 29 gauge, a dual core fused Clapton 25 gauge, a tri-core fused Clapton 29 gauge, quad core fused Clapton 29 gauge, and finally a multi-core staggered fused Clapton 29 gauge. Before we start the review, I'd like to plug my Twitch and Twitter. On Twitch, I'm live 6 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Oh, and by the way, if you got Amazon Prime, you can drop a free Twitch Prime subscription. One of the perks of being a Twitch subscriber is that you get to see these videos days early. And also another thing, your name is at the end of the video. Oh, and also Twitter. Yes, I tweet, sort of. At Vapechilla. Anyhow, onto the review. With me today, I've got the wonderful Owl. He's helping me build these while I review them. So huge thanks to him, and make sure to go follow him on Twitch. Oh, fuck's sake! So the first wire. Proper close-up isn't really necessary because you can pretty much see it, to be honest. So as you can see here we have the coil type. This is N80, and here we have the estimated resistance. 0.34. There's Augvape's logo. Just unscrew it, and inside you'll find your coils. Inside you'll find 10 coils, or 5 dual coils. As you can see, they've got pretty long legs, so you can add more loops if you'd like. Real quick review of the packaging. It's pretty cool, not gonna lie. However, one thing that stood out, it could be a pro or con, depends what type of person you are. You hear that? Some people get annoyed by that.
I am.
But yeah, minor thing. So onto the first set of coils, and the only coils of its kind in this set. Clapton's 25 gauge. So these coils are currently reading 0.23, and the packaging says 0.34. Reason for that being is that is a single coil reading. So if it's a dual coil, divide that by 2. So that means the coil is supposed to be 0.17. These Claptons come with 4 loops, and it's using a 2.5mm guide. It says it's supposed to be 0.34, however this is reading 0.23, which is a bit odd. So here we go, 0.23 at 70 watts. Pretty good. Now I'll bump this thing up to bypass mode. Firing at about 140 watts or 6 volts. Let's give it a vape. It's pretty damn strong. Although it's strong, it's actually quite a chill build. I say it's a chill build because the vapor isn't so hot. It isn't as harsh as most cloud chasing builds. So now onto the dual core fused Clapton 29 gauge. Targeted resistance 0.4 with a 3mm guide, currently reading 0.25. So we got 0.05 higher. Not so bad of a leap. These fused Claptons come with 7 loops, so 0.25 at 70 watts, let's give it a vape. Not bad. Now we'll try bypass mode, firing at about 110 watts or 6.2 volts. Let's give it a vape. That's quite good. Significantly stronger than the Claptons. Definitely warmer too. When you first build it, you'll notice it squeaks when you fire it. Also, these coils are noticeably quite poppy. When you freshly drip it, it'll have this explosive effect, which is something to note. Pretty good for 0.25. Getting a little cloudy in here. Thank you, Owl. Okay, so the last one was dual core fused 29. This is 25 gauge. Dual core build is supposed to be 0.10. This came out to 0.13. Not bad. It also comes with 5 loops. So at 0.13 at 90 watts, let's give it a vape. Noticing some slight pops when taking a drag. 90 watts seems quite good for this. Now into bypass mode, 6.2 volts or 170 watts. Let's give it a vape. Okay, that was good. For only 25 gauge, I'm impressed. For only a dual core, this is quite impressive. Overall, great flavor. Some slight pops, which can be good or bad, depends how you like your vape. And yeah, it's good at 90 to 170 watts. Just make sure to keep those wicks wet. So now onto the tri-core fused Clapton's 29 gauge. Coils are supposed to be reading 0.10. These are 0.13. As you can see here, they are some thick boys.
Extra thick.
Here they are truly tri-core. So 0.13 at 70 watts, let's give it a vape. Pretty chill. Honestly, you could do with a bit more power. Let's bump this up to 90. That's more like it. So now onto bypass mode at roughly 100 watts or 6.2 volts. Let's give it a vape. Since the ohms have gone down quite a bit, this is definitely a warmer build. Cloud density is definitely there too. However, you are going to need a lot more power. This is borderline mech or high-end variable territory. Before I wick this, I would like to point out real quick that some of these coils do have some hotspot problems. As you can see on the bottom coil, there is a slight hotspot. However, this was after a bit of tweaking. So now onto the quad-core fused Clapton's 29 gauge. Dual coil setup, it's supposed to be 0.10. This came out to 0.16. As you can see here, it does have 4 cores. Also, another set of fat boys. It comes with 5 loops. So at 0.16 at 90 watts, let's give it a vape. Quite dense, not enough power. Now in bypass mode at 190 watts or 6.2 volts, let's go to vape. Al, are you dead? No. Just a tad bit overpowering. That's pretty nice. Overall, a very intense vape. And with the build being so chunky, the top cap gets really hot. So now on to the last set of coils, finally. So these ones are a bit special. These are multi-core staggered fused Claptons. These are 29 gauge, with a 38 gauge wrap, and 9 strands of 38 gauge inside. Dual coils are meant to be 0.15, and has a 3mm guide. Okay, so this might be a little hard to see. So as you can see, you got that 38 gauge wrap, 29 gauge on the outsides, and a twisted 9-strand rope of 38 gauge in the middle. Supposed to be ohming out to 0.15, this came in at 0.20. So it seems like most of these coils came out plus 0.05. So 90 watts at 0.20, let's give it a vape. Love it. Even though I feel like it needs more power, it's actually still quite good. On to bypass mode. 135 watts at 6.2 volts. Let's go. Yes. Yes. Someone please stop me, this is too good. Out of all of them, this is my favorite. It's super dense, but at the same time, it's only warm. And ohming out to 0.20, you don't have to use that many watts. It means you could save your battery life. And of course, the flavor is there. That's the one, especially for variables. Probably not for series though, it's a bit too low. Okay, so now that that's all over, thank goodness, it's like 3:30 in the morning over here. Now on to the pros and cons. So these pros and cons are pretty generalized for all these coils. Let's start off with the pros. Number 1, these are pretty easy to build. Since yes, they are pre-built, so you don't have to build them. All you have to do is just slot them in the holes and tighten down the screws. Which also leads me to number 2, they have pretty long legs. Not only does this make them easier to build, but it gives you the opportunity to add 1 or 2 loops to the coil. And number 3, there are 5 sets of dual coils, or 10 separate coils. Depending how fussy you are with your build maintenance, each one of these could last you up to 2 months. So now on to the cons. Number 1, these coils may only last about 2 weeks. But again, it depends how fussy you are. I do notice it start to lose a bit of flavor after the first week. But yeah, I'd use them for about 2 weeks. Number 2, it's a little rare, but there are hotspots sometimes. When I was testing them, there weren't that many that I found. But during this review, 2 out of 6 of them had hotspots that needed to be corrected. I mean, all it takes is a ceramic tweezer and just dry firing it, you know? And finally, number 3, the ohms aren't so accurate on the packaging. This con is a bit of hit or miss. I guess they never miss, huh? But it seems like the resistances on the packaging seem a bit lower than what they actually are. Roughly about 0.02 to 0.05 more. But yeah, this con is a bit iffy because there's all sorts of variables affecting ohms. Even just the leg length could affect the result. So that's pretty much it for these coils. So the bottom line is, these are pretty nice. Usually I just build my own stuff, but having a set of these is pretty handy. Honestly, I'd go for the multi-core staggered fused Clapton. Very nice on a variable. So if you guys are interested in getting a set of these, make sure to visit Augvape's website. Link is down in the description. So if you like this review, make sure to subscribe down below to stay tuned for more videos in the future. If you have any more questions or comments about these coils, make sure to comment down below and I will reply. I've also got a Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook where I'm posting extra content, so make sure to visit that in the description below. Till next time.